Hi everyone, I'm Angela Ficken and I am the owner of Progress Wellness. Today's video I wanted to focus on cognitive behavioral therapy. What is it and how do we use it? The reason why I wanted to talk about CBT today is that I use it a lot in my practice, I use it a lot on myself, and it actually ties nicely into the June newsletter that I'm writing on Thinking Your Way to Feeling Better, which is part of a summer series of coping strategies I'm writing throughout the summer, that if you sign up for my newsletter and blog, that by the end of August, the goal is that you will have 3 solid strategies to manage stress and anxiety. And in June, I'm focusing on how to think our way to feeling better. So cognitive behavioral therapy says just because I think or believe something doesn't mean that it's true. Which is actually, when I say it, it's very simple. It's like, yes, of course, when I think something, it doesn't mean that it's true. But when it feels true, how do I know it's not true? So I tend to use the example of being in a dark alley. Most of us, we're not going to be in a dark alley, but we understand that a dark alley is some perceived danger. So if I'm in a dark alley alone, something hopefully in my brain will kick off that says, Angela, you should not be here. This doesn't feel safe. This feels really scary. And then I get a physical response that probably matches that thought, which is I'll probably get a pin in my stomach. Maybe my throat closes a little bit. My heart starts to race. I start kind of looking around. I feel very on edge. And I don't feel better until I make my way out to the sidewalk that's well lit. And what can happen with anxiety and stress, for example, using those 2 emotions, that when we start to have anxious, negative thoughts, it starts to feel like we're in a dark alley. There is perceived danger. I just had a thought, a negative thought that created a very visceral physical response, just like being in a dark alley. So it must be true. Why would my brain lie to me? I'm trusting my gut instinct here, right? I have this negative thought. It doesn't feel good. The hairs on the back of my neck stand up. I've got to pay attention to it. This must mean it's true. Worst case scenario. And then I'm, down that rabbit hole of negative thinking. And cognitive therapy encourages us and teaches us how to separate fact from fiction. I can have a thought that creates a very strong emotional response, just like being in a dark alley, and it teaches me that maybe there's no danger. Maybe it's just anxiety trying to mess me up a little bit. What other perspectives are there in this perceived dangerous situation? So typically how I talk about it in practice is, imagine that there is a mountain between you and me. And the mountain is the situation, it's the anxiety, it's the negative thought. And for this video, I will throw myself under the bus and use myself as an example. So the mountain, my mountain, has been Angela wanting to do a video for Progress Wellness. And my perspective for a little bit has been, in this mountain, has been the anxiety perspective, which is, why would you want to do a video? You've never done a video before. What if you go on one of your tangents like you always do? What if nobody watches this except your mom? And I love my mom. And what if she's like the only person who watches this? What if I stutter? What if I lose my train of thought? What if a million things, right? What if I sound stupid? I mean, I could go on and on and on. And if I listened to that perspective, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't do it. I would not be doing something I've wanted to do because anxiety was telling me there's only perspective. This is it, Angela. This is all you got. This is the one perspective. And cognitive therapy says, no, that's not true. Sure, all of that could happen, but there's all these other perspectives around the mountain that you're ignoring that are actually most likely more realistic and kind. So if we can come up with different perspectives, then that means that our anxiety perspective is not 100% true. It's not the only choice that I have. And when we're feeling anxious or stressed, coming around the mountain can be incredibly challenging. I still feel anxious. What other alternative explanations are there? It's gonna suck. So what I tend to do is tell people, okay, if you're getting stuck coming up with different viewpoints, think about what you would tell your best friend. If your best friend came to you with the exact same task or problem or issue with the exact same negative thoughts, would you tell a friend, you know what? You shouldn't do the video. The only person who is going to watch it is your mom, and that's going to be embarrassing. And you just stick to what you know. Just stick to writing, stick to seeing people in session. If you go off on tangents, like, nobody's going to know. And at least with your writing, you have an editor who can kind of clean stuff up. But a video, no, Angela, you shouldn't do that. Like, I don't know if I would say that. I would probably say something along the lines of, okay, so what if your mom is the only one who watches it? Like, so what? At least you get one watch. You know CBT very well. You talk about it all the time. Maybe you go off onto a tangent. Maybe the audience will be a little forgiving. And you learn by doing. So here I am, and giving it a try. And that's how I came around the mountain. So even though anxiety was telling me not to do it, these different perspectives, what I would tell my best friend, got me to soften my experience and my worries to the point where, ta-da, here I am, doing my first video for Progress Wellness. So that's how cognitive therapy can be helpful. It really encourages different alternative explanations for the same challenging situation. Instead of letting anxiety or stress or any challenging emotion dictate how we think and feel, we can say to ourselves, there's so many different ways to look at this situation. And if I can look at it from a different perspective, I can start to feel better, because the different perspectives are probably more realistic and kind than what anxiety is trying to get me to believe. So in a nutshell, that is cognitive behavioral therapy. And I do elaborate on it in the June newsletter. And very, very much welcome any feedback. And if you want to get in touch with me, you certainly can at progresswellness.com. My email is on there. And if you want to sign up for my blogs, which come out monthly, you can sign up for those there as well. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks, Mom. And I will see you all hopefully very soon. Take care.